Hey, quick heads up. Just some of the audio is spotty in some places. I'm not sure if it was just the mics or if it was actual software I'm recording with, but it's not all bad, just in a couple places here and there. But other than that, enjoy the video. What is good, YouTube? A Squad 72 bringing you yet another review, and this time, as you can see by the thumbnail, it's the King's Avatar. But I'm not just by myself. I have a few friends with me. We got Castor Troy 82 back again. Go ahead and say what up to the people.
Yeah, what's up, folks?
Hey, we also have Tech 3000. Go ahead and say what up to the people, man.
Hey, what's going on?
So as mentioned before, we have a discussion about the King's Avatar. It's animated by the pro gamer who was screwed over by his company, and he's just gonna climb the ranks again, and he meets up with a couple other people. But we can start wherever y'all want to, as far as animation, plot, characters, and different things like that. So where y'all want to start?
I'm gonna pop off on animation on this one.
All right.
As I mentioned in the last video, I am not a fan of the. I have a lot of good things, a lot of great things to say about anime. Their use of CGI is not one of them. I did not in my life need to see Video Gamer's Pro gaming chair seen in 3D to such detail in my lifetime. I did not need to see an internet cafe full of gamers animated 3D so much in my lifetime. I believe CGI, bane of anime. They used it too much.
That, you know what, that is something that I saw, and it looked a little out of place because, you know, you have this regularly animated thing going on, and then when they cut to the lounge, to the cafe, it's
Like the soft points of the situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of it throws you off, like, okay, so is this gonna be 3D, or are they gonna, what are we going for here? So yeah, it did strike me kind of odd that they use that interchangeably, but only when they showed the actual internet cafe that he was working in.
There was also a point where, this is later in the series, like the last 2 or 3 episodes, where the whole pro gaming team was going at him personally.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into that later, but it did this 3D animation that showed like 7 or 8 people gaming, but it that CGI. Their flat box fingers tippity tapping away. And then the very next scene, it showed them individually drawn, and none of them looked like the CGI counterparts. And that setting to me.
Right.
I'm giving the show an L.
Like
on animation,
yeah,
for their overuse of CGI.
So is it like a capital L, lowercase L? What kind of L? Like a
Lowercase L.
lowercase
Lowercase
L?
L.
All right.
It
What
has a
about
lot of other elements that pick up the slack. Animation, and this is personal, just because I personally don't like CGI. A lowercase L. I just don't like the use of CGI.
Got you. What about you, Tech? What are your thoughts on the animation, the intertwined 3D and 2D elements?
I'm not gonna give it like a lowercase L because I actually enjoyed some parts of it. I mean, I can understand where Caster's coming from because I enjoyed it in the beginning, but when they started, like, there's some scenes that they reused and they rehashed like over and over again, and then that's when it started getting to like, all right, this is kind of getting annoying. But I actually kind of liked it on like the subtle scenes, like on the scenes where things kind of got serious, you know, Like the mute scenes, him walking through like a city or whatever, or walking through the cafe and everything. I was okay with those. Um, but yeah, I don't know it when they started reusing it, definitely, definitely. I started not enjoying it because I don't mind 3D animation if it's done right. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
this one it came out looking like they were doing it right, and then towards the latter episodes, probably like the last. I mean, there's only 12. Probably around the last half of the season. Um, it was okay. They're reusing a whole bunch of stuff over, and then there was a lot of unnecessary 3D stuff. But
Right.
as far as the animation goes, I thought it was actually like, other than the 3D parts, the animation was good. I enjoyed it. The parts that I didn't like was just the reusing of the same animations for some of the same things. I mean, they could have like at least done like a different angle or something like that, but they seem to use those a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
So let me get on my Marshawn shit here and talk about the elephant in the room that left. So can we agree that the Gatling gun got a little annoying as the
the
series went
Gatling,
on?
that was just about to
Yeah,
like
I was gonna mention
mention.
that.
The Gatling gun
You
was the
you
same
were
thing, just it had a different background.
I was just
you
about
were
to say
kind of
that.
circulating that, and I was circulating that point. Let's just get to let's call it out. The Gatling gun move of his weapon is like a cinematic overlay over top of things.
Thank you.
Yeah,
They
they
just
they
changed the
didn't need.
backdrop.
Yeah, they changed the backdrop on it, and also the slide kick move or whatever,
Oh
and
yeah,
the
when
He
he
the
reused that a couple
ninja the,
times.
the ninjutsu move. Now that one was a dope ass move, so I didn't mind it too much. But
It
and
didn't look
plus they
as
only
bad
use it.
as the
They only
Gatling
use it like 3 or 4 times. That was it.
yeah.
And but you knew it was coming because it had its own song.
But yeah,
Uh,
they didn't change it
gun.
to where like his
every
environment, like it was the same
Ninja
exact same
Clone,
cut.
Yeah, the ninja clone.
Ninja
That was
Clone.
it.
It was the Z shake. It was the turning
Yeah.
his umbrella spear into a club,
Yep.
and the turning the club into a Gatling gun. And I want to say there's one or two other moves that the animations were all redundant,
Yeah.
very redundant.
And
Yeah.
you know what? I noticed that because we talked about it previously. And like you said, I saw it coming, and at the same time, like it stood out, but it didn't necessarily bother me. But it was just like, all right, now we are getting to that territory. As you know, I've seen this animation several times. Like, was there some kind of like budget cut thing going on, or what was going on to where like we couldn't get more scenes and different types of animation cycle
I
through.
I will give them credit in this fact. Now I noticed it early that they were animations. As the episodes and time went on, they didn't bring as much attention to them.
Yeah,
That's like the first time you use a move. Oh, I'm powering up and I'm using. As time went on, they didn't announce it or pay as much time to it.
yeah,
Just saw them and knew what was going on. So from that negative point, I will give them a positive. I, it, I'll give it a neutral. Negative
yeah.
at first, but as time went on, they didn't pay much attention to it. They didn't as much with it.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, since we got that out of the way, as far as animation, like, well, actually, Tech, would you give it? Would you give the animation a W? Cause I know Castle, he gave it a lowercase L. So like, you giving it a W?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that there's not many Chinese animes.
Yeah.
Like, and I think this was like a sleeper hit. I don't think they expected this much attention from also like the Western audience as well. And I have a feeling that maybe maybe they might get like tiny bit bigger budget on the next season go round, and or maybe they had to kick that one out, just to get views and stuff like that. And now that it is something that they're gonna add more, so
Yeah,
who knows?
definitely.
Maybe they weren't planning on a second season, but now there is one
Yeah, I mean
coming.
it's
Definitely second season coming.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean it's definitely room for improvement, and you could tell. I mean, like I said, it's not a bad show as far as like the animation goes, and I know like this is just the first point that we're talking about, but I definitely see a lot of room for improvement. And if they had more like a second season or like more episodes, things like that, and a bigger budget, I would say it could definitely be something. It could be great, and that's one thing I could take from it. Like I said, like you have a lowercase L, you got a W. I'm kind of neutral. I guess I'll give it a lowercase W because like I noticed it enough, and then the I guess the newness of it. Where I'm like once I see your weapon turn into a machine gun like 7 times, the 8th time is like, all right, I get it. It's a machine gun. I you know what I mean. So it wasn't
Everything.
yeah, it wasn't bothersome, but like it stood out to me. So I'll give it a lowercase W. But I guess we can moving actually into the characters now, because the main character, I just call him Yi because I can't pronounce his name in Chinese. I call him Yi, or I just call him either Yi, or I call him by his avatar name, Lord Grimm. And like I said before, his character, and from the gate, they just screw him over. He walks into the building, and they're like, "Look, man."
Not even 30 seconds into the show.
Not even 30 seconds. He walks in and like, "Look, man, you're out. The new guy's in. You're a training partner. You're old. You're done. You're washed up." And
Like
I like how they set that up. They got right to the point.
Yeah,
like
they did it so dirty, like to where like you actually felt emotion, because like with the first scene when you see him, they're like excited, they're like, "Hey, you ready for the meeting? Yeah, let's go." And like, boom, hammer just drops.
This is why I gave the show a lowercase. I have to be objective because the rest of the show is going to be a lot of win trade because I personally connect with this character.
Yeah.
As an older gamer, the feeling of reaction time dropping, that feeling of I'm better than this. Why are my hands not doing what my mind knows to do? It's a bit personal to me. So the story is phenomenal as far as me. That's an uppercase W with like 3 stars.
Yeah.
I get that. Especially when you come into this era of gaming where we're at now, where esports is dominant, and you have Street Fighter becoming an esport staple. You have Guilty Gear becoming an esport staple. You have all of these games that require quick Twitch reactions, quick rapid fire reactions, and how
They're actually they're
for your fingers not to react to the way your mind does speaks to me on a personal level.
But you know what? My only thing with that is that they didn't show within the series that he was losing a step. When they first show him, he's playing the game. And by the way, the game's called Glory. For those who haven't seen the show yet, but it's called the game's Glory. And they soon as they show him, he's playing the game. He's minding his business. And when he gets to the cafe and he starts playing the game, and they're talking about APM and how fast he's moving, and about different things like that.
Attacks per minute.
Yeah,
actions per minute. APM is actions per minute.
But we never had a starting point as to where it was. They didn't show any indication that he was losing a step. And that's what I didn't understand. And so I was like, how is he too old, but he's the best that's around? And he's clearly proving it because he has a new character who he started from zero. And now he's still proving to the people who are still in this competitive league that I am the best. So I didn't understand that at all. And what I didn't understand as well,
I think that's something we're not going to get until season 2, because one thing that do mention is the fact that you're still below level threshold. You're still level 10. You're still level 20. You're still level 30. They specifically say at a point, once you hit this number, leveling of your character, all of these advantages you have as an unskilled avatar.
No, we didn't get there yet, but I know what you're talking about.
They mentioned that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about with this review, we haven't gotten there yet. But I know what you're talking about. Like, I mean, because there's no emphasis on like what you're saying.
His experience is talking. We haven't balanced the playing field as far as his experience versus where he was at before his downfall.
But I mean, going into that too, though, the company that sponsored him, his team, he won them 3 championships. You know what I mean? And so
Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, my bad. I don't think. I think it is, in my view of it, my viewpoint of it, because like Caster says, I take a personal look at this character, and it's like, man, it is kind of hard when you are slower and everything like that. But then on the other side of it is when you see him and he's not doing anything wrong. Like, he's doing like all the moves right. He's not slowed down or anything. I want to say that this is kind of like not a stab or anything like that at the industry itself, but basically I think this is a viewpoint of how society, or like in the gamer centric, in the esports type thing, how society has these stats, and they look and they see how people's reaction times, they're using science about it all or whatever, to where that's why it's because he's not young enough anymore. His reaction time's slower. But I think this game, not the game, but I think this show is actually showing the fact that it's not that, it's that I think he's gone wiser, and it's not always how fast you are. It's not always how you actually like work as a team and everything like that. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, like in the very beginning when he did go into that meeting room, and then the other players that are on his team, they're like 20-something-year-old, little douchebags. They
25. He's 25.
Yeah. He's 25, and they're like
the maximum age.
Yeah, it's the maximum age. But when you see his team were a lot younger. They were a little bit more naive. But yes, they were faster. They probably had faster reaction time. But they didn't seem like the type that they would listen. They didn't seem like the type that they were. I think he won those championships probably on a clutch, because of the fact that each one of those individual gamers didn't work as a team. And that was what he was stuck with as as when he got part of that group, or when he got sponsored in that esports team, or whatever. And that's what they didn't see. They just see him, and they just see an age, and they say it's him and he's the problem. And really, it's not him. It's the people that you pitted him with is who's the problem is. Because the girl in the beginning of the show as well, which is, I think she's almost the same age as him or whatever, or probably just like a couple years younger. I mean, she's getting up there. Yeah, I think she's like a year younger or something, because she only has one more year left on her contract.
Yeah, she has a year and a half left.
A year and a half. So I think she's only like a year and a half, 2 years younger.
Has
And
about the same time as his ban from professionally competing.
Yeah, he only has to wait a year.
Comes up in the show, which comes up in the show is that his
Yeah.
ban is about as long as her contract is.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has to wait a year before he can come back and be actually a competitor within the league. But her contract is a year and a half out, and so that was a constraint going on because like you
I'm-
said,
yeah, because there's a point in the show where he runs into as a normal player or whatever, he runs into people that are from his old team, and they've are we doing spoilers? I
yeah,
guess,
go
right?
ahead, yeah, that's
Like
fine.
there's a point in time where like they realize who he is and stuff like that, and they're like, but they still lost to him, and they get all you know
It's actually one of my gripes with the show.
yeah, they start becoming a little bit, they're asshole-ish. I mean, I don't know if we can curse, but
You good?
Well, okay, let's just
they
call
get
it what it was.
yeah,
His second, a person who wanted a position of control couldn't get it because he said he wasn't good enough.
exactly, and he pointed out
After he got exiled from the team, this guy rose in power. And then this guy who rose in power drunkenly walks into this internet cafe one day, sees him, and starts talking shit.
You know what? I have a problem with that, and not because the guy came in drunk and he was talking his trash or whatever it is, but the main character, Lord Grimm, or I call him Yi. He doesn't show any expression towards anything, and I found that it didn't make me upset. I couldn't understand it because like they're screwing you over, and you're just gonna take it on the chin, and then everybody that like the vice captain of his former team who he told like, yeah man, you're good, but you don't put in that effort, and you want a position that you did not deserve. But everything that goes on, everything that happens to this guy, he's very expressionless. He might smile here and there, but him as a character, I couldn't relate to him because he lacked emotion. You know what I mean? Because I'm 25. You see what I'm saying? I'm 25 years old, and so I'm that's just how I am. Like something like I would feel a certain way about this, but he's just like, all right man, it's whatever, I'll go do this. And I just felt like that's not something that I can relate to, I guess is what I'm saying, as far as like a character thing.
Points from me. When you reach a point where you know how the system works, and you take a character like this who loves the game, writing on the wall, he didn't fight it because he didn't love politics of it to begin with.
I don't think he loved where he was doing it at.
They explain his character in subtle ways where players on his team struggle financially, and he would donate his money to the other players to keep them on the team. He would donate his time and his effort and his winnings to these other people because they love the game. So that's why when he reached the point he was at, they were able to exile him from the game because he had no money left. Gave everything he had in earnings from this as a professional in this game to other players that he liked because they loved the game for the game.
Yeah.
So it shows him he's something of a martyr in that sense.
Yeah.
And when you see he meets people, and he actually asks a couple of characters in this like the game Glory. And he
like, do you love this game?
Yeah, like the hell with the money, the hell with the system, the hell with all of the competitiveness. Do you actually like the game? asks at least 2 or 3 people.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, even the chick who she came in and she's like, I really don't like the game, but it's too easy. And that was, to me, that was one of the only times where, like, when they cut to him and he gives it a side eye, like, that was, to me, one of the only few times where he actually showed some type of, like, he took something personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he loves the game.
Yeah, and I kid you not, when she said that, she's like, yeah, the game is not, it's too easy. And he sits down and he doesn't have anything to bet but his pack of cigarettes. And so she puts $100 down and he's let her have it.
100 yen, just like $1.
Yeah, I mean, but to them it's I don't know, it's probably a lot of money. I don't know. Currency is not my strong suit.
Chinese, so I don't know what
the currency. Yeah.
He actually ends up buying it all back. Didn't you? If you notice in the next episode, everybody's got McDonald's.
Yeah.
He buys everybody food with it.
Are we gonna talk about the McDonald's sponsorship of this show?
Oh yeah,
we can get into that. But like all I was saying though, because when
3D McDonald's.
Yeah. Because
no, it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than that. But go ahead with your point.
No, it was a point that I really enjoyed, was that when he was letting her have it, when they were fighting, and she kept losing and losing and losing, and I was like, oh man, like that's what I wanted to see. Because look on his face, like he felt so satisfied with beating her over and over and over again, and she was getting upset and almost to the point to where she cried. And I know she's probably thinking like, man, that's kind of messed up. But that was the only time I can actually understand his character. You know what I mean? And so like I was sitting in my chair watching. I'm like, yeah, man, do you think? Like I was cheering this guy on, and I'm like, I got into it because if I was passionate about something and a random person's like, nah, man, it ain't all that, but then they swear, they're good, it's too easy. Well, show me how it's too easy. Like that's something that I would do. I would challenge that. You know what I mean? So that's why for me, I was able to get into it more, and I enjoyed it a lot more because like that instance brought him a little bit closer to home. You know what I mean?
It gave him character. It gave him emotion. Because he, like you said before, he doesn't show a lot of emotion. Like you're looking at this guy who is literally a player in this game. Just revered. He cried and got emotionally distraught when he's no longer in this game.
Yeah.
Here he is looking down the face of somebody who says, game isn't even worth my time because it's too easy. That gives him character because he took his. And to me, it goes even deeper than that because before he meets this person, they go through the extra effort of showing how charitable he was as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Spending his winnings, keeping people on the team who weren't good enough to be on the team. It's the point of how he got exiled. Like, we were able to exile him from the team because he spent all of his money keeping fans on the instead of focusing on good players.
Yeah.
Now here he is meeting somebody who's not a fan. Takes it so personally. She says the game's just too simple. And the extra effort he puts into destroying her. It speaks to his character and his love, not of the professionalism that has evolved around the game, but of the game itself.
Right.
And I think that's important.
But yeah, I agree. I agree. What about you, Tech?
No, I agree. I definitely agree. I just I don't know. Like I actually like the fact that I don't know. I like the characters that don't show much emotion, that already kind of know how it all works. You know what I mean? So they don't need to. It's more of those characters that like have that, that patience about it all.
Mhm.
You have like Takeda, from one of the Sengoku Basara. You know, he he can't change some things, so that like he doesn't show anything about it. You know what I mean? You got a lot of emotionless characters on some of these other animes that we end up watching, and I don't know. I attract myself more towards them because it's. I guess that's the way they animate wisdom in the show, like in shows.
Mhm.
More than anything, and that's how it seemed like. Now that part where you were talking about where the girl came in, like that was deep, and I don't know, like when he showed her, then that was awesome to me. It was, but
Um,
and I know where you're coming from with that. Like you would show because like I love Halo, and if somebody were to come up with me and be like, hey, Halo's a shit game, I'll be like, how? Show me where,
Definitely.
that kind of thing. Like, but this is probably back in Halo, like 2 days, Halo 3. I would, I don't, I don't think I'd defend the game at this point right now. But I'm just saying, like that's a good example, from back in the day when I used to play a lot. Uh,
Now, for context for the viewers who are watching, we're talking about is there's a point in the series where you have the best player in the game has just been forcibly retired from the game. He falls into an internet cafe. Manager of that cafe is playing this game. He is literally the best player of. He's watching her lose over and over again. Character down, plays her game once, beats that guy in like 30 seconds. She's amazed. She cannot beat this character. She calls in a friend, comes in, and beats this character, but it takes her like 2 or 3 minutes. She's this friend that she called in is the one with the high APM, the high actions per minutes. Her actions per minutes to him looks like have the potential to be at a great. That person is the one who doesn't. She is just so technically skilled that she can come in and win at this game that she doesn't even like.
That she hardly even plays at that.
Yeah,
yeah,
she only plays when her friend calls her in to do a favor.
yeah, she's like one of them natural, like the jack of all trades type thing. She doesn't really have a game that she plays.
She
She
is
just
a gamer to gamers.
yes,
Picks up the sticks and just does things.
yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in for reference because
Yeah, and then when he sees it and sees what she says about the game, that it's just you know it's not the kind of game for her. It's too simple. That's when it kind of goes off, and he then challenge, or he doesn't challenge her.
he
She
destroys it.
introduces the boss introduces her to a person that could challenge her, and that's Yi. And then when Yi comes in, he totally just wipes the floor
And
with
you
her
see what happens.
over
And
and
what happens
over
is
again.
she thinks this game's not worth my time. All I do is come in here and beat people for you. Talking about the manager of the internet cafe.
Yeah.
She meets
Chin.
Yi, who completely demolishes her over and over again. She loses like 10 bets to him in the game. And that's the point she realizes this guy is my challenge. This game that I thought was worthless now has a challenge to it.
Now has meaning.
Her entire challenge is to beat him.
It was interesting too because at the end of that scene, when he was scraping all the money up that he won, and I know me and Castor Troy was talking about this earlier when we was talking about Dragon Ball, was that whenever somebody is extremely good at something and they have a challenger that they beat effortlessly, they always tell them that, look, it's gonna be 100 years before you can probably try and, you know,
Always
get
100
beaten.
years.
Yeah, it's always
My
that's like the
favorite
milestone
anime
number.
trope. My favorite anime trope is can't challenge me with
Yeah.
Hey, Caster, I don't. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's me, but is Caster cutting out in like the beginning and the end of the sentences?
Just a little bit.
It's possible. I think I might be having audio pickup issues.
Okay.
But go ahead. Sorry.
I'll
Yeah,
try
but
to
with
lead
that,
in my sentence.
it's all good. I know y'all wanted to talk about the product placement within this anime. With the ice
You
cream
mean the
cones.
McDonald's
Yeah, the
sponsorship?
McDonald's ice cream.
About McDonald's
Yeah.
is
So
all
check,
over.
check. No, check
Yeah.
this. I actually did my research into the topic. This anime is literally sponsored by McDonald's. As so far much as episode 9 or 10, see the possible commercial. That was not by mistake. That was an actual commercial that aired on actual TV in China.
Oh wow.
Their McDonald's location that is shown in the anime is actually a real life McDonald's that exists in that location in China that is promoted and has King's Avatar promotion all over it. That commercial actually airs on TV. It is a real thing. Anime is deliberately funded.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't even look that far into it. All I knew was that a couple places I saw McDonald's, and they kept calling them saying, "Hey, look, I need you to buy me 2 of these big portion ice cream cones." And I just thought it was product placement. Like I knew they probably sponsored them some way, shape, or form since they were in the actual show, but I didn't think it was that deep. They fully funded the entire project.
Well, I don't know about the entire project, but I know it is official. Like, their signed paperwork. It is a cooperative effort.
They need to throw in some more animation money.
How do you think they got all of that 3D work? How do you think they paid for that CGI?
Yeah, that's something that I didn't know, and I'm glad you brought up that little tidbit because, like I said, I had no idea whatsoever.
Yeah, it's the shit is real.
I don't think it threw off too much for me. It was
Not too
definitely a
much.
chuckle. It was definitely a chuckle every time I saw it because I was like, man, like
Noticeable.
if I didn't read into it either, but like I'm pretty sure every time that I saw it, I'm like, dude, these guys have to be, or if they're not, they need to be sponsored by McDonald's.
Yeah.
As the one guy who did read into it, here's what I'll say. It popped up within just 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
To a point where I was like, hold up. Are actually the Golden Arches. That's a little weird. And then they fell back for a while. Then somewhere around 9 or 10, they had a full-blown commercial inside of the anime. And I was like, that's weird. That's when I went and looked it up, found out, oh, that's a real thing. That actually happened. Actual contracted sponsorship thing where there's like money changing hands. Hey, you guys have an anime, have a burger joint, something here.
Yeah.
But I will say it didn't show. It's just very. Well, I won't hold it against them.
Yeah.
Get product placement in every. How can I hold an anime?
Yeah. Like I said, that's one thing. That's I feel like it was one of those things where like it didn't seem out of place. It was something that you like I said, it kind of you were raising an eyebrow to like, hold on, like what are they going for? But it didn't seem out of place. It didn't seem like it was during an important situation where they cut to like a McDonald's advertisement or something like that. It didn't like mess with like the pacing or anything. It's gonna be one of my
Also,
next
it did
questions.
explain the status of a character. It explained that somebody was so good at the game that they got a big time
I think
sponsorship.
yeah, it explains like the importance of how esports is around there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it served the purpose.
yeah. Like I said, it didn't throw anything off. Only because like I
It
said, it shows, like you said, it just shows how big it is as a part of the, I guess, culture, you could say, because
yeah.
they walk around and they call people like, okay, one of the characters, Roxring or Roxing or whatever, the gangster looking dude who plays as he has the claw and he's throwing bricks at people.
Oh,
When he
Steve.
Right.
yeah, when he first shows up, he's like, hey, where's the god? And like they call like these captains of these esports teams, they literally call them god. They're like, yo, where's the god? Is he here? And it's just to show
It's the
how
most important people in the game.
yeah, and it goes to show like how they look up to these people. Like they damn near worship these people. You know what I mean? Like they look for them to like to tell them like what to do next. They look for like their guidance and just to what do you think I should do now? And it's one of those things where it kind of gives you like a little peep into what's really going on. You know what I mean? Like it's to them, it's not just a game. It's like this is like a lifestyle for these.
Well, because you have to remember, we're also talking about a world where these individuals are looked at the same way as NBA or NFL talent are.
Yeah.
And there was a point in the show where it was directly compared because somebody from Yigod's old team, Internet Cafe, and made a little bit of a fuss. Boss was looking at him like, I don't know if it was the boss, it was somebody was looking at him like, is he gonna come back and cause trouble? And Yigod said to her, is like, that would be like an NBA player coming into a park and starting a fight. Some random player at the park.
Yeah.
It's not good for public image. So no, it's not going to happen. And it didn't.
No, yeah, it
These
didn't.
professional gamers are in this setting of the level as professional athletes. NBA stars, your NFL stars, your MLB stars, your hockey stars. They're on that level. They make that much money. They have those contracts. They have those sponsorships. That important. And when Agod retired, people were emotionally affected to the point where they couldn't perform.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what was it? The servers, like they were like, man, it's a lot slower than usual. And they made a comment. They're like, yeah, we just found out that Yigod, he retired. So with that announcement, there's not a lot of people online right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were everybody was depressed. And so
Yeah.
like it at the time, like now that you guys are saying, like it hit me. It's like, yeah, man, like these people literally were depressed and they didn't sign on. And so the server was literally a ghost town. You know what I mean?
Oh, and speaking of that, man, the music, the music on those parts, like the sadder parts, that stuff kind of it hits. They did it good with the music on some of those. Like when he was retired, or when they announced his retirement, and they had that soft tone music that went with it. It was like perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They did good with music in the um in this show. I think.
I'm gonna fall up without like 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
But one thing too is what a question that I was gonna ask too was when it was a point where he's collecting his crew. He's getting his crew together, and it's something that he didn't do intentionally. It was just that he was playing a game. He has a new character, and he's teaching Chen, the boss. He's teaching her friend, and he's showing her the ropes. And then you get Rajin, the brick throwing guy. I feel bad that I can't really pronounce their Chinese names, but you get these guys together, and he calls up some of his old friends.
Yeah, I always call him Steam Bun.
Steam Bun, yeah.
Yeah,
Steam
because
Bun.
the guy that, yeah,
and
he's a fighter type.
Yeah, you got
now.
Steam...
Okay, so before I'm sorry for interrupting, but so before we go there though, I think we should start tell about how. Okay, so after he is now working at the shop, and he creates a new character, and
right.
As he creates this new character, a new server is also open in this game. This game's an MMO. It's an MMO RPG where you kind of build your character up. You gain levels. As you gain levels, you get higher gear and everything like that. So he's starting all over, and he has to like party up with people to go to these dungeons. And these dungeons, you have to beat bosses. And like the whole emphasis of this game is that there's two types of ways that you can get noticed in the game, and that is by beating the boss for the first time ever, which they call those first kills. And then you have another where you can beat the whole boss level and everything like that, all within a certain time. And in the beginning, Yigod is like he's breaking records, and then he's starting to get noticed. But as he's breaking these records and stuff like that, he's running into these new characters, and that's where like you get like Steam Bun, you get the girl from the one that he challenged, and
he's
basically
the potential in these characters too.
Blew the pants off of, and them, and that's where we get to where we're at now. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I actually have a little bit of a point on that, because as I watch this series, and one of my, as I mentioned before, staples of a good series is this series make me want on it, and this one did. And I found out what that game was. That game is, hey, DFO, throw us the bag. But yes, Dungeon Fighter Online.
Yeah.
I've been playing this game for the past week. This show is fantastically authentic as far as the gameplay elements. There are, like, I have no way to say it other than the fact that everything you see in the show, 90% of everything you see in the show is realistic to the game that this show is based on.
Yeah.
Dungeon Fighter Online. And
so like I remember us talking about that before, because as I was watching it, like you said, it didn't make I sat back and I was like, man, this is something that I think I'd want to get into, because it sold it so well. You know what I mean? And it's just the different mechanics of the game itself and how it's portrayed. I was like, yo, like this is something that I'm actually interested in, because we game online, we game on PCs, so it's right up our alley as gamers, as we're everybody here is a gamer, and so it sucked me into it, and so that was gonna ask you what was that game, but yeah, okay, you told me.
It's Dungeon Fighter Online, and here's what I've noticed in my week of playing that game is that the actions per minute, which is an important stat as far as this show goes, very accurate. You have to be able to hit a certain number of keys set period of time in order to be the most efficient. Skills your character has is super important, because you have to use the best and mission skills. It's all important into where you get into your rhythm. I believe there was a point in the show where somebody was looking at him pressing the keys on the keyboard, and it transitioned to him
That
playing
was
a piano.
That was in the first episode.
Yeah, where like it's
When
it
she
shifted
fell,
to
the
him.
boss fell asleep, and then as she woke up, she saw him doing his actions, and then it looked like he was
It looked like he was
playing the
playing
piano.
piano. Yeah, it's so important because as I was playing Dungeon Fighter Online, I have repositioned all of my skills that I have learned so far. I've gotten only to level 8. And I've put them in a place where I have that rhythm where, okay, I hit X 3 times, then I hit Z, and I hit S. After I hit S, I have to wait a half a beat to hit X 3 more times, then I hit D. After D, I wait 2 steps, or no, 2 half steps, then I hit X 3 times and hit F. That's my cycle. And I reset, wait a half a beat, X 3 times, I hit Z, then I hit S, and it starts a pattern, a routine. As I gain levels and gain new skills, that pattern and routine changes based on what is the most efficient and the rhythmic way that I can get through these levels without taking damage.
Yeah.
I have done a couple of levels where, hey, this dungeon says party of 2, party of 3. I've gone through them solo because after watching this show, I know if I maximize my key presses, I can do this by myself.
Yeah. Which I'm glad you said that because it brought me to the point where you remember where everybody was ganging up on them and he was talking to what was his Longsword? The guy from he was talking to Longsword. He was talking about his vice captain saying that, handicap. Because his APM isn't that high anymore. He's
Right.
he's older, but he's a vice captain, so that obviously mean that he's good. And so he had this mage.
I think he took a training position.
Yeah. And so he had this mage, and they show like a comparison shot between D-God and the vice captain of Longsword's team. And you can obviously see his keystrokes are significantly slower, but he's matching D-God in far as matching he's blocking his attacks, he's parrying, countering,
Right.
he's doing everything he needs to do. And I thought that was very interesting because it's like you said, it's not all about, your keystroke movements. He kind of knows how you play. Because if you notice throughout the other captains and vice captains within this what's the word I'm looking for? Within like this game and these teams that play professionally, they recognize each other's play styles and they were able to call it out, and they all have some kind of general knowledge about the other person. And so,
which is how you got found out.
Exactly.
That's how you got found out. Yep.
Yeah. And I thought that was nice because it's not all about how fast you can move. It's about, do you know what you're doing? You know what I mean? And it was just this simple fact that, yeah, he might not be as fast with his APM, but he's just as good. Because I think those two tied. It was a tie between them two.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it
ended
was
up in a draw.
And what's crazy is
ended up in a draw.
And this is where I go back to my previous statement where you said that you didn't understand how he was still so good when he was supposedly slow, and losing and all that stuff. I think this further emphasizes like the evolution, or not the evolution of the. I think this makes the point of the show is that he may be a little bit slower, but he's a lot smarter as he plays, and that's what the gaming industry doesn't see yet. You know what I mean? They're seeing like the age, the stats, you're not fast enough, where actually you don't necessarily need to be that way. It's you need to play smarter, you need to know the game inside and out. You need to love what you're playing, and when you do that, like it all else comes together. Because
Now,
again, the handicapped one, he was keeping up blow for blow, yet he was significantly slower. But he
Yeah.
two
knew
things.
all those actions. Go ahead. Sorry.
The handicap player, which was the leader of that team, who's there was a point made that person had a specific play style that was a solo play style, and they made a point of mentioning how he sacrificed his ability as a solo player to be a raid player, which is important for progress in the game. Other point is that there was a throwaway comment. It was a very small, it was like one comment made in the entire first season. The person who ended up becoming the vice captain of Yeagod's old team might have been sabotaging them the entire time in order to be ousted from the team.
Possibly, yeah.
So his performance might not have actually been as declined as they played it up to be early.
I didn't
Because
think it
as you
was
see-
in the first place.
Yeah, as you see, they go through the show and he is owning everybody. And there was a small little comment made about how this person might have been sabotaging the results on purpose to get him ousted.
Yeah, I know. I think I noticed that when they showed the personality or the lack thereof personality of the main character. Like he was too calm and collective. I don't like to where
Too chill.
he was too chill about it because I think he was just wise. Like I don't know, that was like their emphasis on you know how like Chinese and Japanese culture, the quiet one that doesn't say anything but says stuff at the right time, he's like the guru, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could sit there on top of a mountain for 13 months straight, eating nothing but a leaf and like dew from the morning. And and he says one thing and it's like, it's I think that I think that's where they were going with this character, and I want to say that he probably knew that that's what the guy was doing. They probably haven't mentioned it yet, except for that one quote in the game or in
Well,
the
he's
show.
kind of said it to his face a little bit, like, "There's
Yeah.
a reason I never let you become higher than where you were."
Yeah,
Yeah, it goes back to he was talented. Excuse me. He was talented, but he lacked the effort because he was so talented. And like I
and
was
he
saying,
was selfish.
yeah, he was very selfish. And so what ended up happening was that remember they did that raid together because he made that other account and they did the raid. Excuse me. But they did that raid and he had a tournament that same night. And since he played a different character, he played like that character. He didn't play like his main character in that tournament, and that's
Yeah,
why
his controller scheme got used to the way he did.
yeah,
And so when he was supposed to do one move, he did the move, but for the other type of character, and it totally like screwed the matchup.
yeah. And so the other,
Yeah,
I want to say it was
I
team.
missed that one.
I think it was Team Tiny Leaf. I think it was their Tiny Herb or Tiny Leaf. I think it was their vice
Tiny Herb,
captain.
that was
Yeah.
the one that had the guy that was the handicap at
Yeah.
the sticks.
But he was
Yeah,
very
and
good at.
Tiny Herb caught on to it too.
Yeah, he was the
Tiny
one
Herb
that.
said, "Go ahead."
Nah, I was just saying he caught on because they kept saying he's very good at analyzing and he's very good at pinpointing what weaknesses are and what play styles are. He's very good at watching and observing. And so he was like, hold on. He's like, okay, so he's playing like this, but in this same night, this guy, he plays this type of character, but he's playing as if he's a berserker. And that's not his character at all. So let me check and see. And he goes back and he looks at the files he said, yeah, Lord of Grimm was playing with the Berserker that night, who plays just like this guy. So either it's a major coincidence, or he was a mole and he stole their tactics, take it back, because he was prioritizing breaking records versus his actual profession, which is to be a pro gamer and to win matches in a tournament setting.
Yeah, I have to admit I missed these slight intricacies, noticing keystrokes. But now that you mention it, I can definitely see how they saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all the mistakes that he was making were like they were stupid moves to where if he was playing a Berserker, those would have been good moves. But it wasn't. He wasn't playing a Berserker. He was
I
playing...
thought they just wrapped it up to him being tired from spending all night waiting when he had a match coming up that he didn't even...
Yeah. They thought it was that.
Hey God.
Yeah.
I thought it was an exhaustion thing. I didn't realize he was inputting the wrong keystrokes for the wrong character type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go
That's
back,
good. That's
they-
good writing.
yeah, they noticed it because at first they thought it was just because maybe he was just tired and he just had an off day.
I think that's what he said too. I think that's what he said. He said that he was tired.
And so then when they went back and they were kind of piecing this together, because they were saying this Lord Grimm's guy, he's doing stuff that's top tier, and so they were looking for him. They're like, okay, so what is he doing? They sent spies to go fight him and see like what's he like, how does he fight, and then they pieced it together because he called them. Longsword called them. He's like, hey, look, they're onto you. He picked you out. Like he took 3 tries and he knows exactly who you are, and so that guy was good. And so that's when they fought, his hands weren't as quick. But like I said, he matched them, and it was a draw. But I do think Yi-God was holding back because he fought another guy who I guess 9 years prior to, they weren't, I guess either they were teammates or they just were, just good friends who played the game, and they both went to separate companies who sponsored them. And he ended up, they fought at the end, but they were matching, APM, and they were going back and forth, and he ended up beating that guy, which there was nothing wrong with him, and he was like the rival company, the rival team to Excellent Era, which was his.
It's no longer a rival team because he's no longer part of it.
Yeah, but I mean, he was salty because he tired.
Yeah,
and
every team is his rival team now because you have to think.
And then again,
set it up in the show. He's about to build his own.
Yeah.
He's resting for a year and then coming back.
"Quote unquote" resting for a year. He's most likely going to keep playing.
Did you guys catch the very very end?
Yeah.
Where he has they have their own jackets.
Yeah.
Yes. They did, and I appreciate them for letting us know, like, no, we're definitely doing a season fight.
Yeah.
And here's what it's gonna be about.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they waited so long to show to drop that nut.
Yeah.
Hey, you're building a team. He acted just like you wanted him to react. It was like, wait, holy crap. I'm actually kind of building my own team. I didn't realize I was doing that.
Exactly. And that's what I was in. When you stepped away, that's what I was asking Tech about, because he has an eye for talent, and he has it, like, it's just not just because they're talented. He has an eye for people who are good at the game but are also coachable, and so and they're team players. And so like I was saying, the training partner for Tiny Herb, he was an assassin, but he wasn't good at being an assassin, and because they had an encounter in the game and they fought, and he was like, hey,
and he listened.
Yeah, it's like, you're pretty good.
Character.
Yeah, he's like, you have a great eye for finding the right opportunity. You're playing support like you should, and you're doing all the right things, but it's not coming together the way it should be because maybe you're playing the wrong character. The way you play, you should probably be a Ghostblade. I think that'll suit you better. And he was like, just muster up the courage to change, and I guarantee you're gonna see yourself prosper. And he was kind of skeptical about it, but then he listened to him, And now
And then he did it in secret. He did
Yeah.
it in secret.
he's doing it in secret, and he's listening to him, and he calls him senior, and he looks up to him. But also with him, Longsword plays with him occasionally. You have Steambutt, and you have the other girl. I want to say her name is like
Wuchen.
yeah, you have Wu Chen, and then you
Which
have
is his best friend, and then the girl, I can't remember what her name is.
yeah Chen, the boss. Her name's Chen, but her friend, she's with him as well. But he's been setting these pieces up, and he's been like training them up, and he's been like I said, he's been putting a team together, and like you said, he didn't even realize it, but now everybody knows about these people, and they know that, hey, these are all newbie people except for the training partner Longsword and E-God, and he brought in his homegirl Sue, and they're gonna create this team.
Yeah, Sumu Chen. Yeah.
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 And so I thought that was interesting because it was this whole thing is just unfolding, and we so happened we're gonna run this raid, but we need one more. Oh well, hey, here's this guy over here, and then they see these people play, and they're like, look, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I want to be a part of it. And then he's building relationships with people. Like when Steam Bun came in, it's like, look, I'm on vacation. I just want to meet you guys. I felt like you were cool people, and so they're building that teamwork environment, that team environment, and which is gonna put them. And this is just my prediction, but it's gonna put him at the top because he's the best person to ever play the game. He's been playing for 10 years, so I mean, like that whole thing, that whole build up was written perfectly.
Because
Yeah.
you have to look at it. All of the best guilds in the game are like, we recognize this person as the best player in the game. He's not at the end game anymore. He's back on his shit.
They're
the best
witnessing
at
something
too.
amazing. They're witnessing him starting over, like on
He's
his own terms.
revolutionizing the game again.
Yes.
He's done it before. They've seen him revolutionize the game, and they make a point of it where he said, yeah, I did unspecialized builds before. Game developers kind of fucked me over.
Yeah.
Going back to it, and they're all seeing him go back to it, and it's like, yo, this guy got ousted. He's won the last 3 titles. That's like Tom Brady being told, you and the Patriots are too good. You're no longer allowed to be a quarterback. Brady quits the NFL, and then by some bizarre, unreasonable rule, allowed to play college football again. Plays it as tight end and does nothing but win. And so now all of the best players in the NFL say, well, screw this, I'm gonna go back to college too. And they all go to his team, playing different positions than what they got their fame as, or no, even playing the same position but just slightly differently. That's what this is feeling like. It's like it's changing all of the rules.
I think this was written really well. Because of all that. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but like when they were going back and when like all the pro gamers and stuff like that have been in the pro gaming and the esports and all that stuff, they kind of like, they're all serious and stuff like that. And then when they go back to the game to try to like match or fight against or find out who Ye-God is or whatever, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they're having fun again.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually a very important part of the show because Ye-God loves the game.
Yes. And I think he's starting to show
the game.
Yeah, like he's revolutionizing because now the other characters, now that they have a challenge that is like coming up into the game again, which I know it was actually the greatest, it's Ye-God, but like now their interests are peaks. They're going back in raids that they haven't done for like over 5 years, you know, and like they're enjoying it. And it's actually pretty kind of cool that it's all, you know, they're actually starting to enjoy the game again. It's no longer some serious thing, you know, to do. It was one of the Sue Muchen. She said that in one of the shows that she said it was fun going on a raid again. She hadn't done that in so long, you know.
Too busy PvPing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
Because it's not work anymore. There's a contracted players that get paid, and I forget the character's name. The swordsman.
Longsword.
Was it Longsword? Because I know his new name was
One that's afraid. Yeah, the one that's afraid.
oh
of being
He
yeah,
was hiding his personality. He showed up with like the scarf wrapped around his head over
yeah,
and over
PK,
again.
PK.
yeah, PK was
He-
he was longsword, but that guy there, I don't know who that guy actually is. The sorcerer one with the
He
Aladdin
made a specific
headwear.
point of mentioning, like, yo, a PvP session with me is like $100,000. I get paid a lot of money to do this, and I'm trying to fight you for free. You don't want to fight me? What's going on?
Yeah, but he was good though, and they brought him in. They brought in longsword because he was good at timed attacks. He was good at precision. He was good at basically for that particular raid that they did with him. He was perfect for that role, and being like at the time, I think he was level 27 when they got ambushed by the entire server, and so
He was killing 7 levels or higher.
yeah, he was killing people level 33.
Oh,
And,
when he steals the dude's sword.
Yeah, he stole a sword.
I want that sword. And then like totally, and he's like, "What are you like 3 levels? I think I can make it by the end of this." And then like
That
he
is the gameplay element that I am afraid of. I like the sound of it, but I'm also terrified of it. Can you imagine raiding? Let's think about our actual real life experience with raiding. If it's Warcraft or Destiny or whatever element you want to consider it in. Can you imagine spending 50 hours of your life raiding for a weapon? Get caught slipping in some zone and somebody beats you and takes it from you.
Yeah, that's I don't know what I'd do. I'd be very upset.
No, I know what you're gonna do. You gonna pull up on him in person.
Oh yeah, of course.
You gonna find out who that is and where they live. You gonna pull up. I
Yeah.
love the idea of taking better gear from somebody. The idea of losing gear terrifies me. Now, upgrade materials. But that's a side point. That's just something I noticed, and I remember cringing at the thought of losing.
That was one of the things that was a requirement because remember he was training Tiny Earth. He was training them, and that was his condition. He's like, look, if I'm going to train your people, I'm going to need these materials every time. And he was like,
Yep.
And they were like, look, this is outrageous, but we want to win, and he's the only person who's going to make our people better. And so they had to cough it up. And if you notice too, they have all these rare materials, and they went and bought new weapons, but they don't have any. I guess orange is like the legendary weaponry, but nobody
Orange
has.
is a level type of gear.
Yeah, and
it's
nobody
an
has
exotic,
it yet.
like in Destiny.
Yeah, and nobody
But
has it yet.
Nobody in Yegod's team has it.
And they're surprised.
He says.
Oh, that's
he
another
says
thing.
that he refused to spend the money on it, but I think he's doing it for training purposes. Like, look,
Because you'll be
you can
dependent on a weapon.
yeah, like don't rely on your weapon. Rely on your skill. So when your skill gets to a certain level, the weapon will just make you.
It's like Black Desert Online. I mean, with or BDO. and probably Dungeon Fighter as well.
It is.
BDO,
It's a
when you
lot
get
like
to when you get high enough to PvP, it's honest. I mean, it's sometimes it's gear. Like, okay, if the guy has like really really high tier level gear, yes, like he can beat you. But there's some people that are just so good at their skill, and it becomes a game just like uh, Dungeon Fighter Online, where you use the keystrokes, you do certain type of combos, and it hits
Yep.
you, and and the multipliers just like they add up perfectly to where like you end up getting this amazing ass like amount of damage that you put out on somebody, just if you catch them the wrong way. And yeah, I've seen people with just like you know 180 AP, where there's another guy that has like 240 or 250 attack points, and they go at it, and like the 180 AP just beats his ass because he's just so much better at comboing his moves together.
all I can say
Um,
is this show has definitely done its research. It
Yeah.
has. It's written
Um,
very well.
the guy who they see, remember the one that Steam Bun runs into when they're getting chased?
Yeah, and
Okay,
well.
so later on in the story, for people watching,
Gay
or,
got 2.0.
yeah, you got 2.0, yeah, basically. Uh, um, Further on in the show, it gets to the point where Yigod is actually breaking too many records with his team of noobs that it gets to the point where now everybody and their mother is after them. Like they have like a bounty on their heads, and they're
Yeah.
just getting killed randomly by different teams and different guilds because.
Getting attacked. Not they ain't dying.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. They're getting attacked, but they're not dying, and it's to the point where they can't like level up or anything like that anymore, or at least for that short amount of time during during that whole segment. But yeah. So there's a character that's been watching them, and he's like a I don't know like a wizard or something, and he
Some
not a
magical class.
yeah, he's some kind of magical class, and he's like paying close attention, and he's been following Steam Bun's character, and then Steam Bun runs into him, and he comes out with, and come to find out, he's a guy that has been writing, uh, like templates and stuff like that on how these raids have been, uh, these raid these raid things have been broken, like the records have been broken, and he's
He's been
coming up
writing
with the
tutorials and guides.
tutorials and strategies and guides and stuff like that. And technically, like he's right. I think Yigan makes this point. He's like, he's right about a lot of that stuff because you would need that because he's lacking. Like, what is it? Like the creativity or something? Like he's
Yeah.
not.
I think
Him
the
not-
comment that is made is more or less he is writing the tutorials and the guides based on information that he doesn't have,
That's it.
but he's writing them accurately somehow.
Yeah.
Yay God can't find any faults in the guides.
Yeah.
The guy who's writing them clear has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, but he's right, which is absurd.
No, I think he does know what he's talking about. But he's making up some of the parameters in order
he's
to make it
analyzing
right.
them correctly with incomplete information.
Yes, because he doesn't realize that they don't have any exotic type god tier weapons, but he's assuming
Right.
that they do because there's no way, or in his mind, that it would work without it.
Yeah.
And so,
Can't put up these numbers without the best gear.
yes, and they are doing it, and so like it's totally throwing him for a loop after he finds that out from Steam Bun.
It was
I'm
something
not
that
gonna say season 2. I'll say season 3 that Yay God puts together. Stupid. Stupid is the best word I can find for it. It's going to be stupid. Season 2, they'll start winning everything. Expected conclusion. So what I'm expecting is by season 3, all of the top guilds in this universe are going to converge, and all of the best players are going to make a guild to counter whatever Yeagod's putting together. So in season 3, it's going to be Yeagod and his guild of upstarts versus all of the other best players in the game to ever have existed. And it's going to be
Yeah, I mean, I can see that happening because the team he has now, they're good. They're not the best, but they're getting noticed, and so
potential.
yeah, they have a lot of potential, and they're doing things that haven't really been done before. And everybody's looking at them like, hey, what's going on? And so season 2, I see them rising through the ranks, getting more clout, and they're gonna win a couple tournaments. They're gonna get far in the championship, but they probably won't win it then because it'll be too. I feel like it'll be too soon because even though they're technically noobs, they have the best guy with them and they have great teamwork. They're still learning. They're still under his like tutelage, as some people would say. So like season
Yeah.
2 is gonna be them kind of like getting their sea legs, and they're gonna have some pretty good things going on, but they're not gonna take the entire thing. But like you said in season 3, it's like that. It's like that time skip thing in One Piece. It's like when they come back, it's everybody's yeah. You don't want to come across these people in a server because you're gonna get wrecked.
I think Ghost Sword is going to join their team.
Oh yeah,
He's
gonna leave the
obvious
train.
inclusion.
Yeah,
Obvious.
he's obviously going to leave. I think Longsword, the one from the other team, either he's going to.
He's the
I-
least likely, but I think he's going to join as well.
I think he's going to join. If anything, he's going to help them get into the whole esports thing. Like he's going to definitely be a part of it all. They seemed like they were good rivals in like because the jokes that they have towards each other when they're fighting in the raids are hilarious. I thought they were hilarious.
Like I would say it like this: if Yeagod and him retiring says, "Oh, I'm gonna come back and I have my own team," that might sound unlikely and like a joke. Says, "I'm coming back. I have my own team, and I have Longsword on my team." That's like, damn, that's a problem.
yeah.
I could see him joining that level.
So you have to realize too, it's gonna be a team of people. It's gonna be a mix of pro players and noobs because Chin's friend who she flew in, she's technically a noob. Steambun's a noob.
Mushu, Longsword, and Yeagod are gonna be the only veterans.
Yeah, and
God's retired, off a contract, and Long's just going to be Vector.
yeah,
I don't know how that played out story wise, but yeah,
but
everybody else is gonna be noobs.
yeah, it's gonna be a good mix. But it's gonna be, you know, how did he take a bunch of how did he take some noobs and then he has some pro players who have left their teams and now they're rolling with him. Like it'll be a very dramatic season. You know what I mean? It'll be a lot of stuff going on. I feel like, it'll be entertaining to watch because now not only that he's gonna have the entire server trying to kill him, but he's also gonna have other pro teams and pro players hunting him down too, hunting their team down, which is it's just a us versus them thing now. You know what I mean? It's not about breaking records anymore. It's about we have to
Stopping him from doing his
exactly. They're gonna stop you from getting back to the top. They're gonna stop you and your team from hitting these milestones because, like I said, it's not about breaking records. Now it's we have to climb this ladder, but also make sure you guys don't knock us off. Because it's not like they're gonna take it by storm, like they didn't see it coming. Like you're on the radar, you're on the board. You know what I mean? And they don't want you there. So it'll be a very interesting, season. Very interesting, second season of this.
Yes, and I think as far as strategy goes, the Ye God 2.0 is going to be on that side of things. I think
Yeah.
the guy who's writing the guides. Yeah, he's
Because they
he's a bit on
actually
the
showed
awkward
him.
side.
They showed him mid combat, like he analyzed the battlefield in a way that's like, crap. He's about to come up with a super strategy, but then he turn around and run into a tree branch.
Yeah.
So he's definitely not good at the game, but he's good at analyzing the situation.
I think that he is a guy. I think when we hear his story, he's probably a guy who never got the game, but he always loved it and he always watched it, but he didn't have like a PC that could run it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And finally, he's got the PC to run it. He saved up enough coins or enough
That'd be crazy.
money, and he finally got it. But like, he has no idea how to keyboard and mouse because he's never done this type of stuff. But he's been following.
If he's a console player convert, that's
been
something
following the game from the start. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Like, I think that would be good. I think that's what maybe he might be, is that he's just been following us. Because sometimes you got those people that are like just huge fans, and they just know everything about the game. They've read up so much on it, and then finally when they go into it, it's like, yeah, they're not the greatest, because it takes a lot more than just watching and strategizing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. But yeah, on that note, any like final thoughts on it? But overall, we're giving it a W, L, lowercase L, lowercase W.
For me, overall, I'm giving it a capital W.
Overall, capital W.
But lowercase L there for animation, because that CGI bull does exist. Only reason I got through the show is because of everything else picking up the slack from that animation L. I just can't rock with CGI. The show got me, so yeah, capital W.
I think it's capital W's around the board. But with that said, I mean,
definitely don't want to see those Gatling guns
anymore. Next season he better have a new weapon, or at least you can have the same weapon. Just don't use a Gatling gun. I'm tired of that.
No, or a different angle. Like, do something. Do like 3 or 4 different angles of those transitions.
Yeah.
You're gonna get that transformation animation and that Gatling gun in the corner laid over top of whatever animation they need every time.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. But yeah,
but everything else like picked up the slack where I was actually
it makes up for it.
surprised.
It makes up for it as a show. Yes.
It was a really good show, like, all together.
A very sympathetic show. I can understand a lot of the concepts as an older gamer myself.
Yes, that's very much so. Like, that was that hit home on some parts. Like, it hits home for gamers, I think. Like older gamers, I guess you could say, because I felt the same way, Caster. Like, there was some parts on there. It's like, man, I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that covers pretty much all of it. I don't think we left anything out. But yeah, we hit pretty much all the major points. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Go ahead and hit a like, comment, subscribe, share this video. And again, like last time, if you have any recommended animes, go ahead and drop them down in the comment section. We'll check those out and get back to you. Anything else you have to say to the people, y'all?
Oh man, nice talking to you guys. As always.
It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Glad to be here.